Hello, this is John from NOW-Spoonfed bringing you our very first episode of Tech Shorts, where we show you helpful tips and tricks of the trade for administering your ServiceNow instance. Today, I will be looking at glide queries and how they can be used to find related records via a type of subquery known as an addJoinQuery. Then, I'll incorporate it into a script include and show how that can be used in reports, reference qualifiers, and interactive filters. In today's scenario, my requirement is to give users visibility to a manager's direct reports. The first step in accomplishing this is to determine who in our user base is a manager. The determining factor for this will be that the user is listed as another user's manager. To satisfy this requirement, I will build a script include that will identify users that are listed as a manager for another user and return their sysid values as an array. As I begin initial development on my code, I like using Fix scripts because it allows a developer to make use of the standard code editor that isn't available in background scripts. Fix scripts also give the ability to easily save and re-execute your code while choosing to run it in the foreground or as a background job. To expedite this process, I've already created a Fix script with a sample glide query. As seen here, this script is querying the sysuser table, and as it stands here, it will return all records in the table. At this point, I'm simply logging out the number of records that are being returned by the query. To run a Fix script, simply scroll to the related links and click Run Fix Script, and click OK when prompted. Here, I'm presented with the option to proceed in the background, which allows it to run as a background job, or if I click Proceed, it will run in the foreground. I'm going to choose that option so that the logging info will be presented back to me when the script completes. As seen by the results, there are 605 user records. By looking at the user table list view, I can see that this is correct. Now, to meet my requirement, I will need to modify the script so that only users that are listed as managers in the other user records are returned. In other words, I need to exclude all users that are not listed as a manager in at least one other user's records. To accomplish this, I will be utilizing addJoinQuery and adding the results to an array. Now, this isn't as obvious at this point as I will be joining to the same table that I've already queried. But one thing that I would like to point out here is that if you are familiar at all with SQL queries, you will find that this doesn't really function as a true join, but instead acts more of a subquery, as all it does is constrain the results returned and does not give access to the fields on the table called out in that join. To perform a true join, you would need to utilize a database view, and that's a topic for another lesson. Let's take a quick look at the syntax for addJoinQuery. It takes 3 parameters, and I will explain them out of order as to me it makes much more sense this way. The first parameter is the secondary table that is to be queried or joined. We are querying the sysuser table again. The third parameter is the field on that table that is referencing the first table that was called out when defining the original glide object. Lastly, the second parameter is the field on that glide record object that parameter 3 is looking at or referencing. So let me break this down. This script will be performing an initial query of the sysuser table, followed by a subquery of that same table to look for any records where the manager reference field is populated with the sysid of another user. Once I uncomment this line, the query will only return user records that are referenced by another user's manager field. I will run this script now and see what the results are. As is seen here, the number of records returned has decreased from 605 to 27, and this is because there are only 27 users that are referenced by manager field of another user's account. Now let me take this a bit further and build it out so that it returns an array of sysid values. To accomplish this, I define an array at the start of the script. Next, as the while statement is looping through all of the returned records, I'm pushing the sysid values to that array. That's really it. Let's execute the script and see what the script log statements produce. Each individual sysid is logged from within the while statement, and when it completed, the array was logged. This is the comma-separated values shown here. Now, I have a script that is returning a list of sysids for users that are represented as managers on other users' records. From here, I can make the script logic accessible to other processes by including it into a script include. As is seen here, I've created a script include named Find Managers, and I've included the logic into a sub-function named Now. The logic is identical to the earlier fix script, though the final log statement has been replaced where I'm now returning the array. To see this in action, I'll create a report that makes use of the script include. I'll name the report Find Managers. Set the table to be queried as users, the user sysuser table, and when I add the filter condition, I'll set it to sysid is javascript:new findmanagers.now. Then I just click Save. If all goes right, the list of 27 managers will now be displayed. And voila, there they are. The script include can also be used as part of a reference qualifier. I have a demo table named u_demo aptly with a single field that is referencing the user table. When we click that magnifying glass to pick a user, all 605 user records are visible. We need to update that reference qualifier so that it only returns managers. To do that, I'll right-click the reference field and choose Dictionary. Scroll down and click the Advanced View. Change the user reference qualifier value from simple to advanced. And in the reference qualifier field, I'll enter sysid equals javascript:new find_managers.now. Now, when we pick a user, only the managers are available to be chosen. So, up to this point, I've shown how to use addJoinQuery as part of a glide query to return records that are referenced by other records. I've also demonstrated how to test them in Fix script, incorporate working logic into script includes, and show how to use those script includes in reports or as part of a reference qualifier. As I bring this first episode of Tech Shorts to a close, I would like to take you through one last scenario where this will prove to be useful, and that's interactive filters. If you have a subscription to Performance Analytics, you can use interactive filters to filter report widgets directly from a home page or a dashboard without modifying the reports at all. This is a really cool feature, and when used effectively, as indicated by the name, they can make your dashboards incredibly interactive. To create an interactive filter, type Interact into the left nav bar and then click on Interactive Filters. Click New. The filter will be based on reference field. I'll use managers for both the name and the lookup field. The lookup name is the name that is used when adding the filter widget to a dashboard. You'll see that later. From this filter, I will choose UI control type of select multiple input. This will allow users to select multiple values to filter their reports on. From the reference, the filter condition will be the same as it was when I created the report earlier. sysid is javascript:new find_managers.now. As you can see, it shows that the filter is matching on 27 records, which are results being returned by the script include that we created earlier. The final piece to configure is the interactive filter reference. In the reference list at the bottom of the form, I will click New. In this case, I'll set the reference table to be user. And the reference field on that table that will utilize this will be manager. At this point, I've completed creating the manager interactive filter that can be used on the dashboard. I've already created a simple report that lists all the users in the sysuser table and added a dashboard named Direct Reports. All I have to do now is add an interactive filter widget and configure the report to follow it. To do this, I will click on this large plus sign, the Add Widget icon button, and set the drop-down value to interactive filters. The filter was a reference filter, so I'll click on that. And then I'll pick my manager filter. This will bring up a preview of the filter. This is my filter, so now I will click Add to place it onto my dashboard. At this point, I can adjust the size of the filter widget. To configure the Direct Reports report on the dashboard to follow the filter, I will click on the Edit Widget cog on the Direct Reports Report widget. Click Follow Interactive Filter and then click Done. Now I can close the Add Widget panel and my interactive dashboard is ready to use. I can refresh my screen and then choose any user from the interactive filter and it will update the list to display only that user's direct reports. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. This concludes today's episode of Tech Shorts. If you liked this video and like to see more, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you have a question that you'd like to have covered in a future episode, leave your question in the comments, and if you subscribe, your questions will take priority over those that do not. Thank you. Over and out. See ya.